this is Brennan Wilmington of the Left Turn Network, and welcome back to another Lumen Stock Car Invitational Series race, season number 4, race number 27. It's the penultimate race of the season, and we are here at the Lady in Black, the Darlington Speedway, again for the second to last race of the season. And although Tim Berry has already locked up the championship 2 races early, there is still a lot to race for. Darlington, of course, a very historic racing venue, especially for stock car racing. The original super speedway, if you will. And a lot of different drivers are going to be looking for a trophy at this racetrack, and that's no different here in LSCI. We've had quite a few good races here. Darlington has been a staple of the schedule, especially late in the season, since the first LSCI season. And we are back here for the 4th time now, and I am joined alongside Darian Arnsdorf. And Darian, this is the first time you've gotten to call a Darlington LSCI race. I know this track is pretty important to you. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's a very important track to me, Brendan. It's a very fun track. One of the few races I've been to in my life was the 2018 Southern 500 at Darlington, so it's a very special track to me. Probably the closest track I live to, even despite the fact I live in Georgia. Darlington is probably my home track, so it holds a soft spot in my heart. Darlington Raceway is a very, very special track in the world of auto racing. It's an egg-shaped oval, very different turns 1 and 2 from 3 and 4. And instead of running the low line like you'd see most of the time on standard tracks like this, or standard ovals, this track you mainly use the outside line. There's no real inside line at Darlington. You can go 2 wide. Don't go 3 wide, though, because that always ends in heartbreak for everyone involved.
Yeah, there's an old saying about Darlington. It's that there's only about 1.5 racing grooves, and nobody starts the race with half a car. It feels like someone mentions that every time we go to Darlington, but it is true. You can pass people, but there really isn't a lot of room. It's got a very unique layout for sure. Of course, turns 1 and 2 are a lot wider than turns 3 and 4 are in circumference. So that also adds another layer of setup knowledge to this track, because if you try and make your car better in 1 and 2, it's going to handle worse in 3 and 4. Now, Darian, this is a 74 lap race. It's likely, if this race goes green, that we are going to have a 1-stop race. But if we do start getting some yellows, then that could make some pit strategy very interesting. We saw Rebecca Raymond take 4 tires on the last caution when most of the field took 2, and she stormed up through the field from 26th to win the race. What do you think is the best way to ensure yourself a victory here at Darlington?
The best way to ensure yourself a victory here at Darlington is just stay out in front as long as humanly possible. And you can easily say that for most tracks, but at Darlington especially, it's very important because, like we said earlier, it's a very difficult track to pass. If you could stay ahead, make your car as wide as possible, it's going to be very difficult for someone to make that move, especially considering the fact, like you said, more than likely a 1-stop race here today. But we have seen during qualifying, especially turn 4 has been a bit of a problem for these drivers. It wouldn't surprise me if we do get 1 or 2 cautions coming out of there at some point during the race. And if that does happen, you really need to be on top of your pit strategy, making sure you know exactly when you can come in to take tires and fill up on fuel.
Yeah, tires are going to get shredded at this racetrack. This is one of the most tire wear heavy tracks on the schedule. And so I imagine we're going to be talking about tires all throughout the race here today. Another thing we're going to be talking about in this race is the starting lineup, and it's a very interesting one. Tamarin Bellinger is starting on pole. I believe this is their first pole. I don't think they won one with Pacific Racing when they were in the 32 part-time. But if this is their first pole, then this is quite a place to do it at. And Bellinger has been improving their results lately, so I mean, maybe this could be an upset win, another one for Diamond Motorsports. Alongside them is the 18 car of Zach Dearman, the former Diamond Motorsports driver. Row number 2, another former Diamond Motorsports driver. It's Jack Gino in the 81, one of the most experienced drivers in the field. And alongside him is the 99 of Akiya Tajima. Row 3, Andrew Kreider, a bit of a surprise up here in the top 10. Alongside him is the 8 of Darren Walker. Then it's Montana Sherman in the 15, 57 years old. This is his final career LSCI race. He has won, I believe, 3 LSCI races. He has been one of the best drivers in LSCI when he was in his prime. And of course, running the throwback scheme to his first full-time season of stock car racing back in RMS in 1998, he has been running all throughout his retirement tour. But this is the last time that we are going to see Montana Sherman as a driver, but he's still going to be involved in LSCI as a car owner. He is going to be the listed car owner for the third Patriot Racing car next year, which will also be number 15. So we'll still see him around, but this will be the last time that we get to see him on the racetrack. Alongside him is your champion, the 11 of Tim Berry, who will be starting in P7 here, locked up the championship at Willow Springs. So he doesn't really have anything to race here. He doesn't really have anything to race for other than just getting wins at this point. Row number 5 is Charlie McCarron in the 85 and the 27 of Adrian Fearson, two drivers that don't have any trophies in their trophy case. Row number 6 is Billy Smith in the 88 and the 19 of Jake Sidney, who made his series debut in this race last year. And then he won the season finale at Auto Club, and safe to say, he has been a phenom as of late. I believe he has locked up Rookie of the Year by now. So congratulations to Jake Sidney on that, but he's going to be starting from P11 today. Then we got a couple McPicky Motorsports teammates in row 7. Tyler Landry in the 66 got his 4th win of the season last week, which set the all-time single season record. And alongside him is the 6 of Holly Martin. Then it's Adrian Wheeler, who has not finished worse than 11th in his last 6 races. He's been on a tear as of late. That includes a win at Talladega and the 57 car of Shauna Everett. Then it's Lucas Forrester in the 5 this week, starting inside the top 20, alongside Ashley Blake in the 52. Corbin Taps in the number 16, starting alongside the 29 of JB Chanot. Then it's Kate Summers in the 92 and the 55 car of Michael Harvin. Then it's the 9 of Lori Jackson, who won this race last year. That's still her only win in LSCI. And alongside her is the 2 of Martin Swain. Then you got the 77 of JT Boyd and the 42 of Lulu Connie this week. 41 car, Karina Willis Calloway, alongside the 1 of Kevin DuPont. Then it's the 24 of Cooper Spur and the 39 of Laken Herndon. You've got the 50 car of Jacob Lopez and the 3 car of George Bryan. James Harvin in the 45 starts alongside the 58 of Joanna Clark. And rounding out the field today is the 79 of Kobe Hollenbeck. We had 2 D&Qs for this race. They were Damon Kirby and Vinny Schulz.
Drivers, start your engines.
And the field will roll off the Boeing backstretch here at the Darlington Raceway. Darian, who do you think is going to win the race today?
Well, it's a very interesting pick. If you had told me I was going to pick this person before the weekend started, I would have called you a little bit crazy, but I'm going for the 65, Tamron Bellinger, your pole sitter here today. They've been really quick all weekend long, like I said, on the pole, and I think they're just going to have a really good shot here to come through and get a massive upset win here today at Darlington.
Yeah, Bellinger's 32nd in points. In terms of full-time drivers, they're only ahead of Andrew Kreider. So this would be a big upset for Bellinger and that Diamond Motorsports team, who's seen success this year with Joanna Clark, but not so much with Bellinger. But they are going to lead them to the green here alongside Zach Dearman. We are underway here at Darlington Raceway. Oh my gosh, we're going 3 wide on lap 1 for the race lead, and somehow Akiya Tajima made that move work. We said there was only about 1.5 grooves, but Tajima managed to make it 3, and he is going to get the lead. What a move from the 99 car.
That was unbelievable. Akiya Tajima, what a move. From 3rd to the lead on the opening lap, and that's put Bellinger and Dearman on the back foot. Here comes Tim Berry in the 11, right behind Jack Gino. They're going to Gino looking for 3rd now on Bellinger. A lot more happening on this race start than I would have expected.
Yeah, you got to be careful not to get into the wall, especially here in 1 and 2. It's quite common, but Everyone's able to keep it off. Don't want to get a Darlington stripe on that car, but the top two, Tajima and Dearman, both multi-time winners this season, are pulling away. Then you've got the 65, who obviously hasn't won this year, and the 81, who hasn't won since Phoenix, race number 4. So it's been a long time for Jack Gino, but Gino's pretty good at this racetrack. He's going to try and pass his former car here for 3rd place. He hasn't seen his former car very much this season because generally he's been up at the front and they've been at the back. But interesting battle here. Uh-oh, be careful. Billy Smith got into the wall and he's holding up everybody behind him. And that's another thing. If you do get into the wall, everyone behind is going to get checked up. And they're going to be losing some positions if they're in the outside lane especially.
Well, that, and you could potentially see someone be a bit bold whenever you see a car slow like that. Might try to take it 3 wide on the exit 2, then you just know that's absolutely not going to work. It worked for Tajima, Dearman, and Bellinger, but that was on the exit of turn. Even then, I wasn't expecting it to work, so I don't know how that'd work on the exit of turn 2. Dearman starting to close in on Tajima for the race lead. This is going to be a battle that we might be seeing throughout the entire day.
Yeah, absolutely. These are two of our best drivers for sure. Although Tajima's he's had a bit of a slump this year, but the entirety of Columbia Motorsports has. So I'm not sure if that's really all entirely Tajima's fault, but he has won 2 races, both on 1.5 miles at Kansas and Texas. And Zach Dearman's looking for his 4th win of the season. He's been our closer this year. Most of his wins have come in the final moments of the race, so it's still pretty early, thankfully for Tajima, but if Dearman's in 2nd with 10 to go, then I'd definitely be worried if I were Kia Tajima, because he has a knack of finding his way to the lead. 3rd, 4th, and 5th remain unchanged, and then it was a battle for 6th for a moment there, but Darren Walker's going to remain ahead of Andrew Kreider. Walker's teammate Charlie McCarron trying to get something going behind. Let's check in on Montana Sherman in his final start. He is currently running, I believe, in the 13th position. So, no, he's running in 12th. So he's dropped a couple of spots since the start, but he's still running pretty good in that 15 car. Oh, Holly Martin's getting into the wall big time.
Whoa, I've never seen something like that before. Look out, here comes the field. And that's going to hold up a couple cars behind Holly Martin. I've never seen a car take that angle through 1 and 2. That was irregular, I feel.
Trying to copy Ross Chastain maybe, but it's not going to work out. It's definitely not going to work out for Corbin Taps either, because he got held up behind her and all of that. And that's what I was talking about a few laps ago. If you're on the outside and the person in front of you does that, you're going to be losing some positions unless you completely run through them, and then who knows what happens. So, but Dearman is on the back bumper of Kia Tajima. He's going to enter in really low on the exit of 4. They're going to be side by side, drag racing to the finish line. Imagine if that was the finish. We've had a couple of those finishes this year. But Tajima holding him off on the outside, but the inside is preferred in 1 and 2. And it looks like Dearman might be able to clear. No, Tajima got the run off the corner. They're still side by side going down the backstretch.
May not be side by side for much longer, though, as I head up to 3 and 4 here. This is allowing the 65, the 81, and the 11 to close in a tiny bit more. But Dearman, oh no, they're still side by side. I thought the 90 was going to get it to the quarter panel. He leads that lap again. Tajima and Dearman have been going back and forth, and Tajima will keep the spot on that outside line. Under the fence by Kia Tajima to keep the race lead away from Zach Dearman.
And he got a great launch off of turn 2 as well. That's going to hurt Dearman tremendously, and you can see the gap that he's opened up already. And these two are well ahead of 3rd place, but they are trying to mount a charge now that they've been battling each other. Pretty spread out here after only 11 laps, 12 laps at Darlington, but things are going to be getting very interesting. They've already proven to be very interesting with this battle for the lead. I don't think this battle is over by any stretch. I think that 18's closing back in, and we're going to see these two go side by side for the lead again here soon, but these two have clearly proven themselves to be class of the field already up 2 seconds on 3rd place. But that doesn't mean it's over for these guys either. We could definitely get a caution or some pit cycle shenanigans that could throw a wrench into things. Gino's still trying to get past Bellinger here, but is not going to be able to do it in turn 1.
Mary's able to get a little bit of a run there for 1 and 2 on the outside line. Gino just could not get a launch on the bottom. Barry's going to look around the outside with a push from Darren Walker, but it's not going to end up mattering in the end. Barry again going to look outside, but that's going to Walker did get to the inside. These two might be side by side as they head down the main straightaway. And no, it doesn't seem like it. Barry's going to be able to easily hold position. And just saw a change in ninth place on the ticker. But
Adrian Fearson and Tyler Landry are side by side for P9 right now. Fearson with the roll on the outside. You've seen those rolls on the outside have been very powerful in this race. If you can get that, launch, it is a very big move for you to make. But it doesn't always work, so you got to be very careful with how you approach it. Bellinger still doing a great job holding off Jack Gino and Tim Barry, two of the most successful drivers in LCI. That's two champions running down the 65, and they are holding firm in third place right now. But unfortunately, the top two just continue to pull away here, as it's now almost 3 seconds between them and third place.
I do want to mention, in favor of Tamara Bellinger, though, they have done a very good job at applying of what I said at the start of the show. As I say that, they end up getting passed by both the 81 and the 11. But I was going to say, they were doing a really good job there for next time of making their car as wide as possible, which was able to hold off just a bit longer from Gino and Barry. Ends up not mattering, though. They're up to third and fourth. Bellinger falls to fifth place and will now have to regroup.
Yeah, still a good run by Bellinger. Also good run for Andrew Kreider. He's kept his Streamline Racing Ford up here inside the top 10. Started in 6th. He's only lost 1 spot since the start of the race, so definitely a big shout out to him, as some of our struggling full-time drivers have been having good starts to this race. Adrian Fearson is one of them. She's about to attempt a pass here on Charlie McCarron for the 8th position, and she's going to get the spot. And now it's a stack up back here around the top 10. Montana Sherman and Martin Swain are both on the outside looking in for a top 10. McCarron is going to get back underneath the 27 of Fearson. Again, maybe not much battling up at the front, but lots of battling going on just inside the top 10 here at Darlington. There's always battles going on somewhere on the track. And that's one of the fun things about this racetrack, is there's always something to watch. Meanwhile, up at the front, Zach Dearman is looking for a way around Akira Tajima. He's going to try and set up that run off of turn 4, and he's going to get it. He's going to try a crossover on the 99. He's going to get underneath him going into turn 1, but Tajima's been so good on that outside lane. We'll see if it works out for him this time, but I don't think it will. Oh, no. Dearman wasn't able to clear in the corner. They're going to be side by side down the back again. But this battle for the lead continues to rage on between Akira Tajima and Zach Dearman.
I had a feeling it would take about six laps or so before Dearman got back in striking distance, but it ends up not mattering in the end. It was a fantastic move on the front stretch on the crossover to get alongside Akira Tajima. Ends up not mattering in the end, and Dearman is going to have to regroup again, which, is just got to be heartbreaking. He's probably using up his tires quite a bit right now, especially because we're 20 laps into this run, like we said earlier. Or I don't think we mentioned
the tire fall off.
Oh my goodness, yeah, almost 2 seconds already for Tajima, 2 seconds for Dearman, and we're expecting pit stops in about another 20 laps. Are we going to be looking at like 4 seconds of fall off here whenever they come into the pits?
Well, it's possible. They might just end up pitting earlier and we'll have a 2-stop anyway, but I'm not sure. I didn't run any test races before this, but I didn't change anything from last year either. Either I'm misremembering or this will end up being a 1-stopper if it goes green. And we're gonna see these cars on basically ice skates the whole race.
The reason I bring it up is because 40 laps is just past what you need to be to make it to the end of the race without having to pit again. Lap 37 is the halfway point, so unless you want to stretch it past halfway, if you pit earlier, you're going to be going on those tires for about 35, 40 laps, or 37, 40 laps or so. It's going to become extremely difficult by the end, especially if this is how the tires are going to be acting so early into the run.
It makes me wonder, if you're the crew chief up on the pit box, what about trying a 2-stop strategy, kind of treating it like it's a road course, and trying to get those fresh tires on? I wonder if maybe you could make up that difference of an extra pit stop with the good tires, but there's also a risk of being trapped a lap down if a caution comes out and all that. So that's why I'm not the one making decisions for that. But it's an interesting idea for somebody maybe that isn't quite as fast as these drivers up here, like the 65, but does have decent track position to try a strategy like this.
It would definitely be a very interesting call, and I'm glad I'm not the one making it, because I know I'd get it wrong 100% of the time. But it almost does feel like you might be able to make that back, because if you are going to be ending up at the run, the leaders are going to be on about 3.5, 4 seconds worth of fall off at the end. If you come into the pit twice, you're going to be making back that time, even though you're going to lose about, 35 seconds in the pits, 38 seconds in the pits. I feel like it could definitely be done. It's not impossible, but I wouldn't say it's easy.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if we're going to end up seeing that. I'd love to see someone try it, but I doubt that we're going to see anybody make that bold of a move. Oh man,
goodness.
We're 3 wide in the back. There's your defending champion, Kevin DuPont, who, again, he's just been having a miserable season this year, and it's not getting any better with this run that he's having here. It seems like title defenses in LSCI don't seem to go very well. Jacob Lopez also struggling here today. Didn't have a good qualifying run, and he has not been able to make up that many positions. That's another thing about this track. It is hard to make up a lot of positions if you're starting in the back. So you got to kind of get a little bit creative if you want to try and rally from all the way back there. Tajima's pulling away from Dearman now. It's about 0.8 last time by. Might be about a second this time by. And they're about 4 seconds up on Jack Gino. And Tim Berry's trying to get by Jack Gino for third, but he's not able to make the pass there on the front stretch. Lap 27 of 74. And again, we're expecting you can make it on one pit stop if you make it 10 more laps. But these tires have worn out a lot. 2.5 seconds of fall off. 27 laps in. That's going to make things very interesting once we get into the second run.
If I'm Akira Tajima right now, because obviously you are pulling away right now, you're about 9/10, nearly a second up on Zach Dearman. If I'm Akira Tashima's pit crew, I'm probably thinking, hey, let's try and pit a bit earlier than Zach Dearman. Try and get that undercut to work. Yes, you might be a little bit on a disadvantage at the end, and yes, Dearman is the closer.
Is he pitting now? He's pitting now.
There's no
Lap
way.
28.
What?
Hey, maybe you should be up. Maybe you should be up there making the pit calls.
I mean, I wouldn't have said right now. I probably would have said lap 35, 37 is when you come into. It's like Tashima's gonna try the two-stopper.
He's gonna try the two-stopper. I was hoping someone would try it. And it ends up being the race. Oh, he's not the only one. Bellinger's trying it too. That's one of the drivers I said should try it. And Jake Sidney, Billy Smith. Is everyone going to make it? I think everyone's going to try a two-stopper.
I feel like you have to at this point. If the tires are wearing out this bad, now you see that the 99's in the pits. You have to follow the leader. You can't take that risk if you're someone like the 18 of Zach Dearman right now.
Interesting change of strategy here. An unexpected amount of tire wear has turned this into a two-stopper. And just about everyone is coming in except for Tim Berry, who's going to try an overcut here. Very interesting stuff here at Darlington. Okay, there's a couple other cars that also haven't come in, including Charlie McCarron and Tyler Landry. But yeah, interesting stuff here.
Interesting. I was not expecting this. I like this. Okay, I'm down with this. I was not expecting this to be a two-stop race.
Tajima is back onto the racetrack as everyone else floods into the pits. Let's see where he cycles out in comparison to everyone else. I imagine he's going to probably leapfrog the 18. Well, I guess it wouldn't be leapfrogging because he was already ahead, but he's probably going to open up that gap even more. So he'll have that initial advantage. But all these other drivers, that one lap of tires could make a difference here. And especially if you're someone like Tim Berry and you've got two laps on the tires. Over the cars in front. So Tajima now has a massive lead on the 18 of Zach Dearman. But will he be able to hold it with Dearman's fresher tires kicking in?
I mean, I mentioned it I don't know. It's really going to be interesting. It's going to be about. It's only one lap, so I don't know if one lap is going to be the end all be all. Well, it definitely could be, considering how badly these tires are wearing out. It could 100% be a factor in the end, where this ends up being a massive problem in the end for Akira Tajima because he pit just a little bit earlier, and the gap after pit cycle ends up being 2.25 seconds, 6 seconds back to the 81.7 to the 65, nearly 10 to the 27 of Fearson.
So the 18 lost about a second by staying out an extra lap, but I feel like I think that extra difference in tires could definitely make up that gap. I think it's a matter of can he make up the gap to the leader? And here's another thing that could end up throwing a wrench into things. Lucas Forrester, Holly Martin are not too far ahead of the 99 of Kia Tajima. Tajima could end up in lap traffic during this run, and that could help Dearman more if Tajima's struggling to get past them, especially considering his tires are going to be older than the cars that he's trying to pass.
It could definitely be a thing, because that's another thing you also got to keep into consideration with a two-stop race like this. You could definitely end up with something like lap traffic being more of a factor than you would typically see in a regular one-stop race, caution-free, because normally you don't really see a whole lot of lap cars in those scenarios, but in this now, it's going to become a massive difference maker in this race, potentially. As I'm looking at the ticker, Jack Gino's made up about 0.4 of a second on Akira Tajima that last time around.
And Zach Dearman really hasn't made up anything at all. So that's very interesting. Yeah. Almost identical lap times last time by. Gino is faster than the leaders, it seems. And Bellinger seems to be faster than the leaders as well. So that'll make things interesting. The 27 doesn't appear to be, but still. I mean, we're also got to watch out for Tim Berry, because he stayed out the longest out of these drivers in the top 10. Him and the 66 of Tyler Landry, who won the Willow Springs race last week off of fuel mileage. So watch out for the McPicky teammates. But last time by, the 99 isn't really losing any time.
We've gone from fuel mileage to tire mileage in the last two races.
Yeah, but Tajima's not losing much time. But the thing about these two-stop races, though, is the second cycle of pit stops usually has a larger spread of cars coming in than the first cycle does. And now Tajima's gaining time over the 18 of Zach Dearman. So I guess the difference in tires didn't matter as much as I thought it would, at least initially. So
well,
Tajima's looking pretty good right now.
Maybe it could be a thing of Dearman's trying to save his stuff, you know? Because if you already know you're 2.25 back after the cycled out, just take a bit of time, take a breath, slow down a bit, save your stuff, because Tajima might be pushing, and you see there, Dearman just gained 1/10 last time by. It's not a whole lot, but it's progress. And it could definitely be a thing of, like, by the end of this stint, we could see Dearman right at the back bumper here, because Tajima wore out his tires way too soon.
That is definitely possible as well, as we've got a battle for 5th going on. Adrian Fearson holding off Tim Berry and Jake Sidney right now. Berry just made the pass for P6. And again, looking back up. Oh, interesting.
I saw the 80. Did I see someone in the pits?
The 81 is under 5 seconds. I don't think anyone's in the pit lane.
Okay, I think I might just be losing it. Don't worry.
Common activities here on the Left Turn Network. But Gino is closing in on the leaders now. His tire advantage is starting to kick in. Dearman gained about 0.3 last time by. Can he be able to keep that going? He gained a little bit that time as well. So, and Gino just gained another 0.3. So Gino's looking very fast in comparison to the two leaders right now. It took a few laps for that to really kick in, but we're starting to see that difference again, even with Dearman. We're just going to have to watch as this run goes on. That fall-off might be happening later in the run, and so that'll make things very interesting for the third cycle for sure. It's under 2 seconds now for Zach Dearman, as he's definitely faster than Tajima, but it's just a matter of if he can make up that gap.
And he'll have to make it up quickly, because they pitted around lap 28, so we could be looking at pit stops again around lap 56 to 60. So you really need to keep in mind that that's when you need to be in the pits. Once you get to the lap 50 mark, that's when you need to start killing your tires as fast as possible, and you need to make up as much time as you can. So it's going to be extremely difficult because you need to conserve at the start, but you also need to make sure you're not putting yourself at a disadvantage, because now gap is under 1 3 or almost under 1 3/4 between first and second, and under 4 seconds between first and third. So you can definitely tell that Tajima's having a bit more problem with his tires compared to Dearman and Gino.
And look at the lap cars. Remember how close they were before? They've gapped Tajima. So Tajima's definitely slowing down, although that was not a very good lap by Zach Dearman last time by, but Gino keeps ticking that gap down. The problem is that he's almost 4 seconds back, so that's a lot larger of a gap to make up. But another thing to consider, the final run of the race, assuming this stays green, which it's looking likely that it will at this point, not to try and jinx it or anything, but the last run is going to be a lot shorter than the first two, so I think it would be a lot more friendly to the to an undercut, which Tajima already has executed flawlessly. So I think these other drivers are going to have to try and think about switching up their strategy and trying an undercut as well. I think Tajima coming in really kind of caught them off guard, but they're going to be prepared for it this second time, so I'll be curious to see when these guys decide to come into the pit lane.
It is going to be a lot shorter stint because, like I mentioned, they pit around lap 28, which if we go by that, it'll be lap 56, which will lead us to an 18-lap final stint, about half of what we were looking at on the first and second run. So it is very easily going to be in favor of those who undercut on that final stint. And we have a battle here for 5th place, Tim Berry and Cameron Bellinger. You'll see the 70 and the 85 going at it there.
27.
For the 7th position.
The 27 got by them both as well. She's up to P4. She's looking pretty fast right now. She, again, another car that's looking faster than the leaders are. She could really use a caution right now, and she'd be able to have...
Gino's under 2.
Oh my goodness. And here we go. Dearman is under 1 second. Tajima did not have a good lap there. So these two Hudson Motorsports cars are starting to close in on him. Again, that difference is kicking in really late in the run, and that makes me think that you want to try and pit. You'll want to pit really early here on this last cycle, because, like, you saw how long it took for that difference to really come in. So I think if I'm Tajima, as soon as I lose the lead, I'm putting this car into the pits. That might not be what they do, but if I were the crew chief, that's probably what I'd be doing right now. This 27 is 8.2 seconds back. If she was closer, I'd be a lot more concerned about her because she's turning some really fast lap times right now. But here we go. This battle is going to be back on here in just a couple of laps.
Yeah, and when we saw the gap was under 2 seconds with Gino, that lap, Fierce had made up 1.5 seconds almost on Akiya Tajima. So you know that 99 car is struggling mightily right now for tires. Only about 20 laps into the run, and the tires have gone away. Battle for the lead potentially inbound here with Dearman and Tajima, and you can't forget Jack Gino. He is right there in the mix as well.
Yeah, Gino's inserted himself into this battle. He was not up here in this first run, but he has put a flawless run here in the second run, and here we go. We've got 3 cars all under a blanket. And we're still about 7 laps away from pit stop, so this is going to make things interesting. Ooh, Gino might attempt to pass on Dearman here into turns 3 and 4. He's going to try and peek the nose under in turn number 4. They're going to be side by side for second. Tajima likes seeing that in his mirror. Somebody's going to have to give it a turn 1, and neither of them will. But it looks like Gino's going to take second away, and now he's got his sights set on the 99 of Tajima, who's been the dominant car of the day. But his tires are begging for mercy right now, as Jack Gino is going to try and find a way around it before this pit cycle starts. He's going to try the outside lane. Dearman almost got into him, though. Teammate is not racing him the teammate is still racing him. He's not working with him. They both want this win badly. That's going to keep Tajima into first. Great run on the outside by both the 99 and the 81. Dearman's going to fall back on the inside lane.
Tajima needs to try and make his car as wide as possible, like I mentioned earlier. He's got to keep that car planted on the inside line, but he doesn't. Here comes Gino for the race lead. Jack Gino in the 81 has taken the lead away, at least for a... Tajima going to try and fight back on that outside line. Gino leads out the lap by 8/1000ths of a second, and this fight's going to continue in 1 and 2. But after they get out of turn 1, Jack Gino has the race lead ahead of Akira Tajima.
Here comes Tajima, though. He's got to run out of turn 2. Does he have enough to make a move into 3 and 4, though? It doesn't look like it, and Jack Gino has taken the lead here at Darlington. Dearman's going to try and take second away from Tajima, and if I'm the 99's crew chief right now, I am telling him to come in as soon as possible, because that overcut, or the undercut rather, worked great on that last cycle, and I think it's going to work even better on this next one. We'll see if the cars around him decide to pit with him when he decides to come in, because that means if that happens, then we're definitely going to have an incredible battle for the lead as this race winds down. And we've got 21 laps to go this next time by. It's going to be between these 3 cars, unless we get a yellow. We've got some action going on for 4th as well. Adrian Fearson, Charlie McCarron, and Tim Berry are having a great battle here. Shout out, by the way, Andrew Kreider is still inside the top 10. This is a great run for him. Martin Swain is also in the top 10. And Tamarin Bellinger, the pole sitter, is currently running in 11th. I do want to check in on where Montana Sherman is, because it is his final LSCI race. I think he might have gotten the wall at some point, but he's battling for 25th with the 29 of JB Chanel, so definitely not how he wanted to send off his career. Look at the gap that Gino has opened up on the 99 and the 18.
Yeah, this is extremely worrying, I think, for Zach Dearman, especially because we know that 81 was faster than both cars, obviously. He just made up like a 6-second gap and is now leading this race by a full second. So, you know that 81 is the fastest car right now. The question is, how long will that stay? And will they pit before everyone else? Because we are about at that time. It is lap 56 of 74. We have run about 28 laps on this stint for Akira Tajima. Now is the time
I expect to see the 99 in now. I think the 99 should be pitting right now. But it doesn't look like he's gonna.
Yeah, he's staying out. I don't like that.
I don't like that call. I think that's a bad call. I think I'd be bringing him in as soon as possible. I might have even brought him in 2 laps ago, like as soon as he lost the lead, pretty much, to try and kind of cut the last like 2/3 in half.
Now, granted, I will say it would have been different then, because if he pit 2 laps ago and these guys waited number 3 or 4 laps to pit, he would have been begging for mercy before the checker flag came out. Oh, yep, he's coming in now. Lap 57 of 70.
Dearman's not going to follow him in, but he did get held up quite a bit. Gino's coming in too. Oh my goodness.
Oh, what a move by Gino.
He's played the mind games on him. Again, I think Tajima, he just waited too long. He needed to have come in 1 or 2 laps ago. That would have been his best shot to win. And now it's going to be a race between the pit crews. Dearman is staying out, so is the 27. And I mean, I guess if you're the 27, 66, 85, they're all coming in. You might as well try something different at this point. But I don't think it's going to work. I think they're hoping for a yellow. Oh, but with the way they're racing, it might be possible, but yeah. Here comes the 27. Oh, they're pitted right next to each other, too.
That's
Here
amazing.
we go. Here's your direct comparison. I think Gino's definitely going to get out before Akira Tajima here, just because he had the track position on him. Long stop for the 99, though. They had to fix a little bit of damage.
Oh, wait, where'd that damage come from? What?
He must have gotten into the wall at some point. Those Darlington stripes, they sneak up on you. But that's going to give Gino a huge lead. I think if we get out of this cycle, I think he's just going to be able to cruise to the win here. But there's still time for some wackiness to happen.
For some reason, I didn't expect Darlington to end up being one of the biggest pit strategy races of the year, but I'm not mad about it. This has been very entertaining to watch.
Here's the 18. Not sure if he's leaving or I think he's coming in right now. So he waited a bit. Charlie McCarron is still out there. Oh, Michael Harvin's into the wall. And
Oh,
almost an incident there. Oh, there might still be an incident. Ashley Blake and Adrian Pearson almost caused a yellow there, and that would have thrown a wrench into everything. But thankfully, we are still green. And oh my goodness, what is the gap that Gino has now? That has got to be massive.
Tashimi's even ahead of Dearman as well. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, Dearman
has made a massive mistake by pitting late.
Yeah. Pitting late's not going to do good on a run as short as this, and all these drivers in the pits right now are probably going to lose positions.
We're having a few cars go a lap down here as well.
Yeah, there's Gino. Got to be careful with the lap cars, though. George Bryan and Adrian Wheeler both in front of him. But we'll see what the gap is this time by. As we've got,
be about 4 seconds.
We've got less than 3 laps to go.
13 to go. 13.
And it's almost 5 seconds between first and second. Jack Gino, he played the strategy perfectly. Oh, man. More cars entering the track. Got to be careful again. And Gino is not riding around with these lap cars. He's trying to pass them. Oh, almost contact with the 40 of Adrian Wheeler. You don't want to be too aggressive. You don't want to end up putting yourself on the wall or wrecking yourself or anything, so...
Yeah, the last thing you need to do, especially when you're leading, is be the cause of the caution. That would be very bad.
Yeah, you got to know where your limits are. You got to know how much you can push the car without overdriving it and causing an incident, especially when you've got all these lap cars around you, and especially when some of them have fresher tires than you and are probably going to be faster than you towards the end of this admittedly very short run. But Jack Gino's in a good position right now. He's got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh,
Oh no!
The 55 has a problem. He's down on the inside of the track. That's an engine failure for Michael Harvin. Is he going to make it back around? I think he's got enough power to make it back around, so there will not be a yellow for that.
He's going to be a bit slow, but he'll be on the very bottom of the track. I think it should be okay. That would have been heartbreaking. Actually, may not have been that bad because under 10 laps to go, so...
Yeah, with all those lap cars in between, I think Gino, again, I think Gino's probably got this win unless something happens to him.
Might have a battle for second, though. The gap is down to 6 tenths of a second between Tajima and Dearman, so that could be something to look out for.
You were right in the assessment that this would be a battle we'd be seeing all race long. I don't think you imagined that it'd be for second at this point, though.
No, definitely not.
By the way, back in 4th place, it's still Adrian Pearson, who's had quite a few good runs here at the end of this season. Maybe enough to get her a ride next year, we'll see. Laurie Jackson is looking at trying to hold off Jake Sidney here for a top 5. This is Kobe Hollenbeck is in the top 10. This is a bit surprising. He hasn't been in the top 10 very much this year. So, again, Columbia Motorsports. What were you saying?
He started dead last today.
Well, we mentioned that it's hard to climb up from the back of the field, but Kobe Hollenbeck has done it. Columbia Motorsports as a whole has struggled, but especially Kobe Hollenbeck. So it's nice to see him up here in the top 10 again. And you saw the 55 is back in, he's in the pits, so he made it back around successfully. We've got some lap cars around Jack Gino that are kind of racing with him here.
If I'm Jack Gino, I'm probably just letting these guys go, to be blunt with you. Like, you have a 6-second lead. There's no reason to be racing lap traffic right now when you've got a massive lead over Akira Tajima and Zach Dearman.
Yeah, and especially since Tajima and Dearman are also stuck in lap traffic. Oh, man. I would not want to be in this right now. That's for sure. Especially if I were the leader. Oh, watch out behind. That's teammates Jacob Lopez and Adrian Wheeler. Unfortunately, Wheeler's hot streak seems to be over today as he is now 26th, 1 lap down. He's lapped up, that means he's lapped up to 24th. That's incredible.
New And in second, Zach Dearman ahead of Akira Tajima.
Yeah, looks like Waiting's at least going to get him second over Tajima, and it's going to make it a Hudson Motorsports 1-2. Could potentially get all three of their cars in the top five, although it looks like Sydney might have smacked the wall at some point, and he's going to lose a couple of positions and some ground to Laurie Jackson. 5 laps to go. Tajima still in this large group of lap cars. And this race looks like it's going to go caution-free, although they are still racing it pretty hard, so you can never rule out the possibility. They're 3 wide back here. Well, that would have been a big opportunity to crash right there. They're still 3 wide entering turn 1. That's Lucas Forrester, JB Chanot, and Adrian Wheeler. Somebody is going to have to give, and it ends up being Forrester.
Yeah, I feel like I mentioned earlier, I can't remember for sure, turn 4 was extremely problematic in qualifying, so it wouldn't have surprised me if that was an incident, but they stay clean, and they're coming up on 4 laps to go here at Darlington. Jack Gino with a nearly 6-second advantage over his teammate Zach Dearman.
Yeah, 3 laps to go here this time. We don't want to put it in the wall, although I feel like even if he does, he's not going to lose that much time, but you still don't want to risk it. He's just got to make it around to the end. Dearman in second, Tajima third, and then it's Fearson and Jackson who might end up in a battle for fourth. Great runs for both of them. Definitely much needed top 5s for both the 27 and the 9. 2 laps to go. Jack Gino hasn't won since Phoenix. That was his only win. He won that one by a considerable margin. So we might be seeing that here again, although he definitely had to fight for this one. But it ended up being a very smart strategy call and a little bit of damage repair on the 99 that got him this big lead. And here we come to the final lap here at Darlington.
Yeah, Jack Gino just absolutely played the strategy to perfection. No one to blame on the 18 and the 99. They were just outplayed all day long by the 81 and their pit crew. Unbelievable stuff by Jack Gino. And it's going to end up being a very well-deserved win for them here today.
The Season 1 champion had a win at Darlington slip away from him in Season 1. But rounding turns 3 and 4, it looks like Gino's going to be getting that win here today. Coming off of turn number 4, Jack Gino gets Hudson Motorsports win number 8 on the year, and his second of the year, and he's going to take the win here at the Lady in Black. Dearman finishes second, Tajima third. Jackson was able to sneak away a 4th place finish from Adrian Fearson, who's going to fall back to 5th.
I don't think they're going to complain too much about finishing 5th instead of... That's still a fantastic run for that 27 car.
Yeah, and the 9 car as well. Both of them, great runs here today for a couple of struggling drivers. And there's your race results. 24 cars finish on the lead lap. Only 1 car out of the race. It was Michael Harvin, and that was due to a piston failure. But a very interesting race here at Darlington. There were definitely some lead battles, although by the end of it, it was all wrapped up. Dearman did start closing in on Gino by the end, but it was definitely too late there. And I'd imagine Gino probably overcut on the first pit cycle to get the fresher tires than the leaders, and then he pulled the undercut in the second one. That was a genius strategy, a great call by the crew chief of the 81, and it results in a Hudson Motorsports 1-2 finish.
Yeah, just unbelievable stuff. I remember we said, we came into this race not expecting this to be a pit strategy race. We came into this expecting a 40-lap pit cycle. It ended up being less than 30, which unbelievable when you think about it from there. And just fantastic jobs on the 81 and the entire pit crew and the team for getting that strategy absolutely perfect and coming with a 5 and nearly a half-second win.
Yeah, and again, it had been 23 races since Gino won, and he has been the 3rd best driver at Hudson Motorsports, which we were all expecting when he went to Hudson Motorsports that he'd immediately be the one leading the team, but he's been outperformed by Gino or not by Gino, by Dearman and by Jake Sidney this season. But Gino is still a threat for sure, and that's what he's proved here today with his second win of the year. We already went over our top five. Once again, shout outs to Laurie Jackson and Adrian Fearson. Tyler Landry, Charlie McCarron, Jake Sidney, Kobe Hollenbeck. That's a great run for him in ninth. And Darren Walker round out the top 10, especially considering that Hollenbeck started in last. He gained 26 spots in this race. That's definitely a great day for the 79. Martin Swain, the part-time owner-driver, almost comes away with a top 10 here, finishes 11th, so good run for him. Tim Berry, the champion, finished 12th. Kate Summers, JT Boydum, and James Harvin, I think they all started out back and managed to get good, solid top 15 finishes. Same with the 41 Karina Willis Callaway in 16th. Tamarin Bellinger, unfortunately, only finished 18th after starting on pole, but still not a terrible run for Bellinger considering what the season's been like for them. Same with Andrew Kreider. Montana Sherman in his final LSCI race ends up finishing in 29th. Definitely not the result that we were hoping for, especially considering that he started up in the top 10, but and I guess he finished his last race. That's better than some have. Corbin Taps has been struggling in this last part of the season. He's down here in 32nd. I'm not sure what's been going on with that 16 team lately, but he has been going through it the last few weeks. But yeah, Darian, what did you think of that race? And then maybe give us a preview for what we could expect in the season finale at Las Vegas next week.
Before I get into that, I just wanted to give another shout out to Montana Sherman, just give him my respect for everything he's done in the last seasons or so. And I know we said that obviously he did not have a good run here today, finishing 29th. But at least he finished his last race, and at least he got to choose what his last race was. Not a lot of drivers can say they did that. So massive respect to Montana Sherman for everything he's done with LSCI, and wish him the best in the future. Now, Darlington, this was just a plain fun race. You know, I didn't really expect it coming into it, but that was a very, very fun race to call and to theorize the strategies on. And it turns out we were mostly right somehow. For the most part, it ended up working out perfectly for the two-stopper, especially for Jack Gino. Akita Tajima was leading, finishes third. Not going to be too mad about that. I feel still a top 3 finish at the end of the day. And yeah, just a very, very good race here at Darlington. Next week, Las Vegas season finale. Sin City, baby, what can you expect? A lot of stuff is going to happen. Very fun track at Las Vegas. I look forward to the season finale.
Well, Darren, you called the season opener at Atlanta, and that was an incredible race. And this Las Vegas race is pretty similar to that. I'm not saying that it races like a plate. I'm saying like it races like the very unique kind of style of racing we did see in the season opener at Atlanta. Because remember, they don't have plates on Atlanta here, but it is new Atlanta still. So I would expect kind of similar to that, but definitely a little bit different. I think it honestly might even be more pack-like, because if you remember at the end, Dearman and Chanot were able to pull away and kind of have their own battle for the win, but they might be more on top of each other in this race. In that race, that Las Vegas is always fun to run. Of course, for the longest time, had the closest finish in LCI history between Lake and Herndon and Kobe Hollenbeck before it was demolished at Talladega not too long ago. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's race here at Darlington. One more congratulations to Jack Gino and Hudson Motorsports on the win here today. And thank you to Darian Arnsdorf for joining me in the booth. You've called a lot of races for LSCI, and I always appreciate it every time I'm able to get you up here. So, yeah, and I think this is probably your last race of the year, because I've got a special plan for the last race of the season, but I'm not quite sure if it's going to go through or not. But we'll see. But yeah, thank you for joining me. And on behalf of the Left Turn Network, this is Brennan Wilmington signing out. Here are your point standings with one race to go in the LSCI season, which will be on your screen right now.